Hey everybody, I'm Rico.
And I'm James. Intro. Welcome to Drink This, Watch That, a show where we analyze, predict, mock, and drink to today's most popular shows.
Today we are drinking Storm of Swords. We are watching Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 3, titled Breaker of Chains. Quick update on the show. We saw last episode Theon go with Ramsay Snow to Moat Cailin to claim it from Balon Greyjoy.
Indeed.
We saw that Bran is traveling north with his two warging buddies after touching a godswood tree and communicating with someone, something, and having some kind of vision.
Something.
And Joffrey died. He got married, but he died.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
He was poisoned at his own wedding. It's up in the air whether it was wine or pie, which is usually the case of most men's downfall. It seems
We'll go with wine.
It seems like Tyrion has been set up as the fall guy for his death. We have yet to find out. And that's where we're at, so let's get to it. Cheers.
You, my lady, he followed my orders, every one of them.
So am I the queen?
More than you were with Renly. You may not have enjoyed watching him die, but you enjoyed it more than you would have enjoyed being married to him.
But what makes a good king?
Wisdom is what makes a good king.
Yes. Your brother was not a wise king.
I'd like to see Bravos one day.
Why Bravos?
I have friends there.
And we're back. We got to see Arya confronting the Hound about being an asshole.
We learned that Baelish knew about Joffrey's death somehow, and he had planned for Dantos to bring Sansa to him.
We are also told by Olenna Tyrell that Margaery is not the queen by right because she did not consummate the marriage with Joffrey.
Apparently Tommen is the heir to the throne, and we got to see a very cool scene between him and Tywin.
We got to see Tywin talk to Tommen in front of his dead brother. And Tywin comes in and he's like, "Do you know what makes a good king?" That was a really good Tywin.
And Tommen's like, yeah.
And so Tywin is basically beginning his schooling. Finally, he gets to take a kid at his youngest point before he's king and mold him into the king that we've always wanted for Westeros. Instead of having to try and manage Joffrey, he gets to create this king.
There was no way he was going to be able to change Joffrey into being anything that he wanted. And I kind of think Tywin, that was his whole plan. Tywin has no claim to the throne, but he can be pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Yeah, Tywin I don't think has ever hungered for power. I think he always wants to further his family line. And I think with Tommen, he gets a chance to do that in the safest way possible. Whereas with Joffrey, he was going to have to keep covering up his mistakes and basically just being the king behind the scenes. With Tommen, there's going to be a clear distinction. He's a good king. The Lannisters have saved this country.
There was a cool line at the end where he was asking Tommen, all the qualities of a good king, and then his interest is to further the family line.
Tommen seems to be intuitive about what makes a good king, too. He's not just a guy that's being taught. It sounds like he actually has... Tywin says he has the temperament to be a king, but he also seems to just be kind of a good kid. I think he's going to be a good king.
Yeah, I agree. He seems to be receptive to what Tywin's saying, and Tywin even says, "Your brother was not a good king," and Tommen didn't disagree or anything. He just went with it. So we'll see.
Your brother was not a good king. Let's get to it.
I've never heard of visions and prophecies winning a war.
I will not become a page in someone else's history book.
I will also invite you to sit on the small council to serve as one of the new king's principal advisors. You help me serve justice to the king's assassins, and I will help you serve justice to Elias.
So, we got to see Sam trying to protect Gilly by sending her to a whorehouse to be the maid of this place. That should be fun for her.
We got to see Stannis and the Onion Knight Davos. Stannis was expressing his concerns about, I don't have an army. Davos is like, we can hire an army from the east, and Stannis was opposed to the idea. He's like, we don't even have any money. And then he thinks about it. He's like, I know where we can get money. Bravos. Davos to Bravos.
But the big important scene of this section is Tywin talking to Oberyn. Number 1, Tywin wants Oberyn to be the judge at Tyrion's trial. 2, he wants Dorne to be on the side of King's Landing and the Lannisters because he knows that wildlings are coming down from the north, and we're going to see in the future Khaleesi coming from the east with her 3 dragons. Dorne is the only country to have stood up to Aegon Targaryen, and they basically wrecked everyone's shit. And they need Dorne. Third thing that I think was implied by this, Tywin seemed like he already knew that Oberyn wasn't the guy who killed Joffrey.
So the scene starts off with Tywin questioning Oberyn about Joffrey's death. And Oberyn's like, yeah, I didn't do it. And Tywin's like, yeah, okay, I believe you. Hey, how about you be the judge at Tyrion's trial? And he's like, well, you want me to be the judge? Tywin says, we can't be 7 kingdoms without Dorne in the fold.
I don't think Oberyn really cares one way or another about whether the countries are united. But what he is concerned about is getting revenge for his sister. Elia was raped and brutally murdered by the Mountain.
Tywin's thing is like, hey, you come sit on the small council chamber for me, bring Dorne back into the fold, I'll give you your revenge with the Mountain. I just want to see Oberyn start kicking some ass because he seems like a badass motherfucker. Tywin seems to be pulling a lot of strings and taking definite advantage of all the chaos that has ensued, right? If he didn't know about it, he's definitely capitalizing on the fact that Joffrey has died.
But he seems pretty goddamn prepared for Joffrey's death at his wedding. He's like, okay, so I'm going to get rid of Tyrion this way. I'm going to put Oberyn and Dorne into place here. I'm going to go ahead and get Tommen, and I'm going to train him. Who's ready for that kind of stuff?
Right. So I ask you, if Tyrion didn't, who did?
So I'm pretty sure Baelish had something to do with it.
He certainly knew that Joffrey was going to die.
There are so many different places that this could go. I don't...
Right.
Baelish seems to know something. Tywin seems to know something. I don't think the Tyrells were part of it.
If Olenna was directly involved with Joffrey's murder, I feel like she would have waited till Marjorie consummated the wedding, the marriage, before she did that. So
I feel less sure this episode than I did last episode.
Certainly.
Last episode, I was sure it was Marjorie, Olenna, and Sansa together. This
Yeah.
episode?
Right. Now I really don't know. Maybe I should have read the books.
Whoever killed the king wanted me to lose my head for it. And with my wife's disappearance, it makes me seem that much more guilty.
I told the wildlings we had over 1,000 men at Castle Black alone.
Alright, so we got to see the wildlings in an attempt to pull out the men of the Night's Watch. They attacked a small, it looked like a village. They tore those guys up, and they sent the child to warn them, hey, come fight us or we're going to keep pulling this shit. And then Jon Snow's like, no, we have to protect the wall. They're coming from the north. They're going to light a fire. His friends that were at Craster's house during the revolt, and they killed the old guy, those guys finally made it back south to the wall, and it's like, hey, they're taking over everything. They're just cool there. And then Jon Snow put 2 and 2 together. He's like, hey, if the wildlings reach that place, they're going to find out that we're not a bunch of people. We're just 100 dudes protecting a wall.
We catch up with Tyrion, who's in jail, who gets visited by Podrick and says, your trial's going to be in a fortnight. You get to call whatever witness you want. Tyrion's like, all right, I want Sansa. And Podrick's like...
Podrick was offered a knighthood in exchange to testify against Tyrion.
I will say this. Whoever offered Podrick that deal was in a position to make him a knight. So there's that.
And the episode ended with more Daenerys. We cannot get enough Daenerys. She finally reached the gates of Meereen. So Meereen sends out their champion to taunt Daenerys to get her to send out her champion to meet him on the battlefield. She goes to everyone down the line. Everyone's like, oh, I'll fight. And she's like, no, I can't risk it. And then Daenerys like, okay, I'll do it. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, go for it. Yeah, go and fight this guy on the horse.
Yeah, you're not that valuable.
Yeah, you're new, whatever. If you die, whatever. What the hell are you doing?
It's a dick.
It's a huge dick.
It points up.
Right.
And so he does, and he just takes out the guy, like, in the coolest way possible. He kills the horse and then beheads him. And then she's like, hey, slaves, if you want to be free, Just kill everyone and it'll be cool. Do you think that the slaves are going to turn on the masters, or do you think she's going to have to take it by force?
Okay, here's what I think's going to happen. I think she's going to take Marine very easily. I think the slaves are going to turn on the masters, but that is exactly what I don't want to happen. I want there to be a battle, and then the dragons have to come and just torch shit. Instead of Nemebetas, she should have said Dracarys, and then the dragons just torch, and then she has the slaves now. They could have just burned the dude. He was right there. The leader of the city was like right there. Dragons, just good episode. Definitely like a classic Game of Thrones episode 3. Story builder to whatever's about to happen.
The next wedding.
Baelish and Sansa,
The White Wedding.
where nothing happens. It's just completely vanilla and boring.
Yeah.
Are you doing a puppet show with the pizza? And that's today's episode. Thanks for watching. Please help support the show by liking, sharing, and commenting on what you thought.
And don't forget to leave any drink suggestions in the comments and any shows you'd like us to watch in the future. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Until next time.
Cheers!